here, and now there should be audio appearing through the chat. It'd be great if somebody could tell me in the Twitch chat or in any of the 100 million IRC channels I'm in if audio is actually coming through. While I figure out what I need to do before I can start. Also, it'd be great if everyone could complain about the sound of my keyboard, because it's obnoxious and I love it. I'm going to post in one more IRC channel that this has started. This one, I'm going to breathe a lot into the microphone today, I think. So, yeah, I needed to not be wearing a jumper, and I wasn't going to do that. This might clunk a bit closer to my face. So I am back streaming. I have not streamed since April, May, probably May. I've not streamed since we moved the table. For campgrounded. The streaming setup is now different. Now I know that my work MacBook is actually the same basically as my ThinkPad. So today I'm streaming from Freebsd. I have a second monitor. And this stream is using these great USB capture devices that appeared on the market in the last couple of months. And so I am pulling video into the camera right now, which you can see some lovely Aberdeen seagulls. I think I'll get a bit closer on the seagulls. On top of what might be some 5G infrastructure. I don't know, I think it's just 4G. That's the building across the way. I can see into the hardware from here, but if I showed you a ship, you'd definitely be able to figure out where I was pointing from. So today I'm going to do, move this again. Today I'm going to do an install of Freebsd desktop on an Intel 10th generation NUC. I wrote a blog post about this last week, 2 weeks ago. And it seemed like a nice thing to try and do a stream from FreeBSD because it's something I know how to do and it should be painless. But there's going to be lots of pauses in this because, well, the FreeBSD installation process is pretty quick. There's a lot of downloading stuff and waiting for installers to run. So there'll be some pauses, and maybe in the pauses we'll see what the seagulls are up to. Aberdeen's pretty famous for its seagulls. They're very large. Now everyone says their seagulls are very large, but ours are also vicious. And it's sort of a rite of passage in Aberdeen to have food stolen from you while you're eating it walking down the street. And so these ones might not have learned that yet because there's not been as many people eating outside and they're probably quite young. But they'll be back on this soon. They'll be ready to nick your chips. So if I click in OBS, so the good thing about having two screens is I can have the OBS screen up. And so for the install, I have HDMI capture coming out of the NUC. Capture main. Should be a capture only as well. And so right now it's sat at the BIOS screen. There is about a second between a key press and an update in the BIOS. So it's going to be great fun doing this install. It's also going to be a nightmare because I have two sets of keyboards and mouse. It's just what it is. It'd be great if I had a film crew. So this is a Intel 10th generation NUC. It has an i3. The i3 is okay. It's got an absolute ton of RAM in it now because RAM's good. And so this should be pretty painless. I did an install this morning. So an install of FreeBSD takes about 5 minutes if hardware support is okay. I actually think it takes about 5 minutes if hardware support is not okay. And so we're sat in the BIOS screen. If I hit escape and I don't save, the NUC will reboot, and then I have to figure out how to press F10 on my keyboard because I can't remember if the function key needs to be pressed or not. A lot of the indications for progress on this are listening to the fans coming off the NUC. Yeah, okay, so we're here. What we'll see is there is a FreeBSD installer ready on a 480 gig M2, which is internal. This is the install I did earlier today. There's also a UEFI USB stick installed, and this is the installer. So if I hit enter, FreeBSD will boot. This is the FreeBSD loader screen. We're not going to sit here for 10 seconds. I think the frame rate might be quite low coming off this capture device. I'm not sure which dials to play with, and I might try that in the future. I can also, because I have two screens, actually monitor the Twitch chat. Oh, I missed something already. So what I've done so far is, if I come click here, wait, I have to find the right window. So what I've done so far is, no, it's not letting me do it. There does seem to be something weird about window captures and FreeBSD, and it might be my window manager. So what I was going to show is what I was going to show was that I downloaded the latest FreeBSD current snapshot from the FTP server, and I DD'd it to a disk. Let me see if it shows up. I go to this window. So I go to this window, it shows up. And so all that was just DDing this with a block size of 1 meg. And if I hide this one, I don't get the web browser. But if I switch window to the web browser, no, it worked before. I don't know. So that is all I've done so far. So I've just downloaded this and DD'd it to a USB stick, which is something you do a lot if you do a lot of installs, and especially if you deal with single board computers and do lots of installs. And it's painless. It's also fun because it can go completely wrong, but it hasn't for me for a long time. Touch this fake IKEA wood. Bring this one back up. Well, I don't need to show any more terminals today, I would hope, but we'll see. I'm using a HDMI capture device. I can give you a link later. I could put one in front of the camera, but the camera wouldn't focus because it'd be too close. And it's just a USB HDMI device, and it comes up as a UVC webcam, and so it's completely supported in FreeBSD with Webcam D, and so it was actually really painless to set up. It was really good. So this is the FreeBSD installer. It gives you options. I don't know the difference between shell and live CD because that's what it is, but we want to install. I always use the default key map because it closely resembles a US key map, and that is the sort of keyboard I learned to type on. I learned to type on a iBook, and so the key map there is very similar to what a US one is, so that's what I use. It wants me to choose the hostname for the machine, and most people struggle with this. I don't, because I have a big list of hostnames, which I use the names of ships from the Culture series of books. And I'm going to change the hostname later when I can be bothered looking at the list. Yeah, I don't think anyone knows the difference between those two. I just leave the components to install alone. I don't actually know what I get. So the machine's going to follow current, and I'm going to be updating ports and source today. And the ports and source we install are disconnected from the test suite. The ports and source that are installed are disconnected from SVN, so they're not actually a very useful starting point. I'm looking forward to corrections for my understanding of things. We're going to install onto ZFS. We're going to stripe the one disk in here. The value of using ZFS is that we get to do snapshots and volumes, and it makes it easy to manage virtual machines. Going through this menu is great fun at this speed. And so the only change I'm making is I might up the swap. The only two changes I'm making are to change the ZFS volume to be encrypted. And to put more swap on the disk. Yeah, it's good. So the thing about using culture ships for hostnames is that there's 200 of them. So I'm safe for a while before I run out and have to pick something else. No redundancy. This is the only drive we're putting in our stripe. We're choosing yes. It wants me to type a password. I always use Hunter to. Oh, that was unnerving. And of course, you now know from the sounds the keys made on my keyboard what the passphrase was. And ZFS will just take a minute. this machine was very easy to set up. I do have other machines that are more troubling. Some of the weird Intel stuff they did with their mobile chipsets our MMC driver is not great, and so there's giant pauses in it. But I'm too terrified to ever look at any of the storage stack, so I just leave it alone because who wants who wants that pain in their lives? I'm much happier losing packets than I am losing systems. I just get sad if I lose a system. I don't know who did the color menu for the installer, but I really like it. I mean, it came through years ago now, but it's good. Underneath the support me label there is telling me how many files and the rate it's copying files. No, I obviously typed Hunter1 first time. What seems to have happened recently is I'm unable to type passwords anymore. There we go. Okay, so it's asking me which network interface to configure, and there's two here. So one of them is the Ethernet on board of the machine. The other one is a USB Wi-Fi device that I've plugged in. The built-in Wi-Fi in this Intel NUC is not currently supported by FreeBSD, but there is support coming. So I think Bjorn is working for the FreeBSD Foundation, and the chipset on board is one of the included ones in his target. And so it will hopefully start to come up in a couple of months, and it'll be interesting. But until then, there's these USB Wi-Fi devices. They're originally Edimax ones, but you don't seem to be able to buy them anymore. They're supported by the RTWN wireless driver, and they are really good. They're actually better than the Wi-Fi on my ThinkPad. Our installer lets you connect to Wi-Fi really easily. The Debian installer was an absolute nightmare to get going. I'm going to connect to this network, and then I'm going to type this. And so now it'll ask me to do v4 and DHCP. Weirdly, it doesn't tell you if it succeeds or fails. You just get v6. And I know this has succeeded because I've got, it found me a name server, so it must have succeeded. Is the clock set to UTC? It is set to UTC. I think this is maybe quite an old menu option. I think the chipset for this was included in the list. I think so the email Bjorn sent the last update where he just had attaches working. I think it included this chipset in the series. I didn't remember off the top of my head. I think it was 9000 series, and this is a 9000 series. I didn't look into it yet. No, the UTC one is fine, but so I don't understand why the clock setting matters. Anyway, United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is where I am. Because this is a desktop, I actually want to have a sensible time zone, whereas servers all have UTC, which means I never understand what time it is in IRC for half the year. Today's date is correct. The time is correct. I want NTP date so that we will do NTP on boot, and I want NTPD to run because I do. I am told that PowerD is now completely useless, so we can leave PowerD alone. And obviously we want SSHD because we're a hacker. I'm not going to do anything in this menu because it is a desktop, but it is also I did do development on it, and I get very confused if I don't have dmessage working. Let's add a user with this username. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Do care. Don't lock. All okay. No. So I have tmux in WeChat, and I can set the environment variable, but I always forget how to do it. And WeChat isn't very good at remembering settings, or I don't understand how to use WeChat to remember its settings, so I just tried not to ever restart it. Okay, so that is the FreeBSD install done. We're going to exit. I think there's going to be a big pause here after we exit, because there was earlier today. I don't know what this big pause is. I did a UFS install earlier, and it did the same thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've seen any changes in the installer recently either on the source commits. So I wonder if there's something about the disk. It just feel like it's not doing anything, doesn't it? Once we get past this screen, we'll reboot. Machine will come up, and then I am going to acquire a source tree, acquire a ports tree, install packages, build DRM, Devil, Kmod, set all that up, reboot. Well, install DRM, Devil, Kmod, try graphics. If graphics doesn't die, set it to come up at boot, reboot, come up at boot, install a login manager. Oh, maybe it was generating certificates and that's what took so long. I don't know. Someone who's not speaking into a microphone could add a bug, but I don't know if it could reproduce this either. Trying a virtual machine. No, I don't care. We're done. And now the hardest part is going to be pulling this USB stick out because it's very small. It would be good if the installer had a please pull out the drive, as other systems do. Okay, I'm going to assume that's okay. And let's see what the NUC does. I think it should just come up. And it's good because now I can plug the mouse in. So here is the lovely screen. It's not low resolution from the stream. That is how bad the logo looks on the NUC. And it's asked me for a passphrase, which is a good sign. Then it does this. Yeah, it can't just be the cert bundle. I'm not going to sit here for 10 seconds because it's a long time. It can't just be the cert bundle. It must be doing something else. But I wonder what the extra step is. It didn't have this pause when I installed. I mean, what day did I write that blog post? Yes, it was in June. Yeah, it didn't have that. It didn't have that stall then, so it's interesting. It looked like with similar number of jelly iterations that it does on my ThinkPad. Ah, okay, so having this text where it is at the bottom is going to be really disruptive. So I'm going to move it up here. Yeah, see, much better. I don't want to have it exactly where the prompt is. And because I'm interacting with this through the, I'm interacting through this from from OBS, there is more delay than there is just straight from the camera capture. Video. Oh no, I'm told the world is broken. I don't understand. Does the comment about the revision of the port tree matter if I use portsnap? Which port tree does portsnap pull? Because this might be fun and exciting. Oh, and it looks like we've not actually connected to Wi-Fi. Well, that's weird as well. So does portsnap pull from SVN? There was a message saying that SSL certs were doing something. It's really annoying that we have sendmail turned on by default and it hangs the system. Yeah, why was sendmail blocking boot there? That's really annoying. Sendmail is awful and we should get rid of it. Okay, so we have internet access. And the washing machine is done. Now let's see if changing to a different console works. What buttons do I have to press to do that? Oh, there we go. Login is me. So let's start by installing packages. So this is obviously not a desktop as most people would use it, but it is a desktop as I use a desktop. And so obviously I need tmux vim git zsh, and then I need i3 gaps, which might not be how you spell that. We will find out. Oh wait, let's see. Can you tell in the video that it has started raining? I don't think you can. The birds are just not bothered by it at all. Oh, let's hide the starting soon on. We need a terminal. I really think there is only one option for a terminal. I wish it was called urxvt as a package, but I understand why it's not. We need an extra terminal. We need something to set desktop background. It's funny, I do this so often. No, I don't do it that often. I don't care about VLC. I do need Firefox though. Oh no, I do need VLC. Is that what that package is called? We need socks so I can listen to music. Yes, Xorg is the package I need. That is the one I always forget. Recently I've been installing Xorg -server and wondering why nothing works. So it's been quite annoying. I also want Slim. There is something I've forgotten. I have forgotten a font. Oh, I've never used why is it called urxvt pearls? What does it do? Tell me. I'd love to learn. Do you think I can just install the package? I hadn't thought I could just install the package. That might be much smarter. On a different machine, I'm typing package info grep incon, so I can spell this font name. Inconsolata TTF. Source code pro TTF. Doesn't seem like enough stuff. What else do I use? I have to look at my own laptop now. I only use Firefox and terminals. I probably use a PDF reader occasionally, and I use LaTeX. Well, now we're going to be watching package download. I'm going to bring this closer as I sit backwards. I use LaTeX. It'd be really, really cool if we could get our LaTeX updated to 2020. I did offer the maintainer help, but I got the fair knockback of when I have time, I will look at this, and I'll have time soon. And that was a couple of months ago. Not that I'm in a rush. All I wanted from the newer the LaTeX packages, was the ability to have Markdown as my source files. Oh, I forgot to add the... Yeah, see, I spelled i3 gaps wrong. There is a hyphen in there. Yeah, I'm just going to try installing this package. And now we get to install a lot of stuff. And every FreeBSD user has experienced this before. Watching LLVM try and install, fail, try and install, fail. I'm not getting great rates either. I don't think, well, it's hard to figure out why that might be as well. So part of it might be the mirror, but it also could be the 2 megabits of up I'm doing could also influence this. Twitch chat. I'm looking at Twitch chat again. Yeah, so the thing is, I use VI mode in my shells. So I just use VI keys, but the root shell doesn't need VI keys, so I'm not in that often. Yeah, 49 kilobytes a second is a lovely rate. Now we have some seagulls and the download, so it's much better. Today, Matt, we are installing FreeBSD on a 10th generation Intel NUC and looking at some seagulls. And if you can tell, it is raining really heavily right now. But it's, you know, it's really hard to focus on rain. I could totally pan this lens back, but then you would be able to tell exactly where I am. You could also almost see like the top of a ship from here, because the harbor is 200 meters away, but it's not very interesting. If we were higher up in the building, it would look cool. Well, the seagulls are ominous. They're going to steal your chips. They are out to get you. These are some of the evilest creatures in the world. It is a good thing we don't like ice cream. That's all I have to say about seagulls, because they will come and steal your chips. Yeah, I'm not convinced it is the mirror that's slow. I really would believe that it's the network here, because it's doing 2 megabytes a second now. Oh, it dropped. See, that's a lovely bit of TCP. See, 2 megabytes a second is quite a lot. Yeah, I know BAPT is looking at replacing libfetch with curl, so we'd actually hopefully get a lot more performance in package in the near future. Yeah, really cool. A big problem though is the infrastructure has not been great in Europe for package, and so it's not really been something people have looked at making go quicker. And I know Alwyn has got stuff to do CDN distribution, so there are efforts in the back burner. I guess for a lot of people it's not a big deal. I mean, I think my Hetzner machines have a local mirror, and so the package is really quick. I would think most cloud providers are like that. They end up actually being very speedy to deliver packages, rather than this, because we're at 12 of 362. But it's done the big ones. I mean, Firefox is pretty big. Oh, 50 megabytes is not very big. I did start the stream by saying that there was going to be a lot of sitting looking at progress bar. I don't think I'm on BME if I'm getting, well, okay, like, average rates aren't great. I also don't think the rate estimates from fetch are solid. Oh great, thanks camera. Why did that happen? Let me go poke at the camera. Yeah, I don't know why the camera would only keep the shutter open for 30 minutes. Okay, so I'll take a suggestion to do this faster. Can I not just set the mirror with an environment variable? Can I not just do package mirror equals and overload it? I wonder if I can look for that. See, socks went quickly. So did the fonts. It's because they're tiny files. Nope, that's the wrong window. There we go. Man package. This would be the wrong package. It's Canon 600D. I know you're thinking about the European video recording cutoff, but it's not actually recording video. It is just the HDMI output of the camera fed into one of these USB HDMI capture devices. So it shouldn't be it shouldn't be a legal tax reason for why it's doing it. Anyway, we're like 10% of the way there. It won't take that long. It'll be okay. And it's thrilling entertainment. Oh, we can maybe multitask actually while we do this. So let me see if I can actually get a terminal to show up on the output of the feed. Here's a terminal. Do you think you're showing a terminal though? Okay. What? There we go. Is the font big enough now? I'm waiting for a yes. I'm just going to assume it was a yes. Oh yeah, I mean I could look at Twitch myself. I mean it looks fine to me. It's pretty big. I mean it's not a very wide terminal though. I don't know what I was expecting to happen there. Okay, it's big enough for me. So I need to find some more smaller windows though. What happens if I bring this up? You come up here please, and we're going to shrink you way down just so I can see if anything is happening. And what I will also do is add another capture device, VLC video, no. Add video capture device, add existing camera, okay. We get some giant seagulls, and we'll make the giant seagulls even smaller. And then we'll put them way over here. Do sort of this. And then we will put capture device on top. And so now I need to try and not type into OBS because that's not going to work. So tomorrow, give me a second, I'm trying to bring up my own documentation. My documentation lives on my blog. My blog is linked from here. The last blog post was encouraging people to blog more in 2020. I've not blogged since, which I understand the irony. What I'm looking for is, wow, I run a lot of blog posts. This is annoying. Right, fewer blog posts. I'm looking for a blog post called Command Line Bug Hunting in FreeBSD. So tomorrow from 1400 to 2100 UTC, we're going to do a FreeBSD bug squash. I was meant to be writing a wiki page with documentation today. I haven't. I was playing with cameras instead because cameras are more fun. And so part of that is we're going to look at using, so the last time they did a bug squash for FreeBSD was when they were on NATs, and so developers when we were on NATs could log into Freefall and then just dump out nouns, dump out a list of packages based on certain conditions. And so this is documented in the FreeBSD wiki. It's documented from not this page. So what I'm trying to do is type into the OBS window again, which I think is really funny. Well, so blogging is not hard. You can just blog. You just do anything. I mean, I wrote a blog post about an awful shell script I wrote. It's a great shell script. And so, if I can focus for more than 3 seconds at a time. In the past, we used NATs, and we could I love all the advice I'm getting through IRC. But it's going, it's fine. We're now just going to be distractible. Oh, you know, I don't have diagnosed ADHD, but it feels like it sometimes. Anyway, so with NATs, it was pretty easy to dump out a list of bugs matching a condition. And with Bugzilla, it is actually okay. And there is a command line tool. What I want to do is turn this window into a window. Come on, laptop, you can do it. are you not making a window? There we go. Turn this window into a window. See if I can remember how to use, and it made the window smaller. That's really unhelpful. I just actually want to copy stuff from my blog post here. And so we can use a tool called Bugsy, which if I do this, that's fine. That does what I expect. Which is packaged for FreeBSD. The package was updated since I wrote the blog post, and so the default now is to use the FreeBSD bug tracker. I think Bugsy will still try and authenticate for everything it does. So if we take one of the examples I used before, the FreeBSD bug tracker has components and products and areas. There's a lot of things in there I'm not quite unsure how they relate. For the bug squash tomorrow, we hope to go through and reduce the number of bugs that have patches attached to them, so that either we start making a queue of things that we can commit because they seem okay, or we can close things because the patches are dead. So I found a thread for something in IPFW where there was a patch on someone's web server and this web server is gone. So this is a bug I will hopefully remember to close tomorrow. And I might use it as an example of a bug that can be closed. And just sort of comment really for a bug like that is this patch link is gone. If you can resurrect it, and if the issue still exists, please just reopen the bug and we'll look at it, because we are trying to get better at triage and dealing with these things. But when you have a long history, you have a lot of stuff that's not necessarily still up to date or relevant. Well, that's really annoying. I don't understand what this error is. So let's see, now I'm using VI keys on my keyboard. It wants the word search. No username given. So for some reason, I guess it's probably rate limiting. Bugsy defaults to try and authenticate you. And you can set up the authentication. And I have an example of it in the blog post. And hopefully it will go into the documentation stuff. But there's also a flag for skip auth, which I feel like should be the default. And so I have done this search, which I will now get rid of, which is search for any descriptions with the word patch in them and the word IPv6. And we don't get hundreds, which is why it's an example I put into the blog post. So there are queries you can do which will return like 600 results, and I didn't really want people to just be doing those right away. And so we have a list of bugs here. From Bugsy, we can interrogate these on the command line, and we can figure out what the patches are and download them and look at them. It's not completely straightforward because the attachment types, I think in Bugzilla, don't actually have any flags against them. So you need to find the list of bugs, and then in each bug run other Bugsy commands to pull the attachments and then figure out if they are patches and then try and apply them. And so there's some automation available. We can write more, but it's been sort of 10 years since we did a bug squash in FreeBSD, and so it seems like something to try and do. The ones just with bugs assigned to them are unassigned, and so they could hopefully go away. Now, how else do you use this tool? Because I do not remember. This is why I write blog posts, is because I have no memory. And I've gotten a lot of value from other people's blog posts about really simple things they have done. And so, no, these are just other ways to search. I wasn't being very friendly to myself. I want a lot of value from blog posts that other people have done. For really simple things. So I write them down. And I just write them down in a way that other people might find them. So the next time you want to take a screenshot from FreeBSD and you're like, well, how do I do that? You just do import screenshot.png, and then it will give you a selector. We can't see the selector because we're only capturing a window. And now I have a screenshot called screenshot.png of a bit of my terminal. And I think if you do, thanks, Tom. Now we have a screenshot of both my windows, and everything was there because I just pulled the entire root from X. Now these are two commands that I can now type, but the number of times I have had to look these up after being away from using my FreeBSD desktop for a couple of weeks, months is insane. It really is weird the number of times you can forget doing something as small. I mean, it's only like 2 words. It literally is import and the name of the file, and yet you still forget it. And so writing these things down really helps. And if someone else finds this, then it might help them too. So yeah, anyway, write documentation, write informal documentation as well. I can't remember any of the commands, and I'm a bit annoyed that the web browser capture isn't working. I stopped reading the Twitch chat because I had to look at a different window. Mini blogging. Yeah, okay. So it's funny, so when I'm on a different i3 window and I move the mouse, it still comes through in the screen capture. So it's very confusing about what's happening. I guess the pointer only exists in one place at a time. So I am trying one more time to bring up, oh, I wonder if I can capture the window in a different device, in a different way. So I'm going to remove this web browser capture. Yes. I'm going to try and do a window capture, create new. Lock X server while capturing. No, I don't want that. Try this. See, that worked before, so that was fine. That wasn't a problem. Okay, comes here. So now we're recreating my tiling window manager by using the OBS stream. So this is the layout I have in i3 right now. I don't understand what's going on. So if you look for bugs on GitHub, this has got the no. Okay, that was learn to click. No, this is not the right thing at all. Bugzilla bugs. PyBugs, okay, because it's a Python tool. Yeah, forget things like this. Okay, and then there's a sort of essay. I was sort of worried when it said Python 3.3 or later on the tool, but it turned out to all be okay. If we just click over here again, yeah, it's going really slowly. It's like we look at it as well, and it's like, the rate was too high. Let's cut the rate down. So the documentation for PyBugs is in the form of an example workflow. The command orders are a bit old, so the examples of tools that the command orders are like it says it's like CVS or SVN, which sort of shows the age of PyBugs. That's fine. And so they also don't include any of the authentication that the author is doing, and I don't understand why, because I had to do authentication. And you can do things like assigned to, and so they are a Gentoo developer, and the default that shipped FreeBSD until I wrote this blog post was for Gentoo. They are a Gentoo developer, and so this is a workflow they show. I think they close a lot of bugs. I suspect, I mean, I don't know that, but maybe ports bugs are more dynamic and based around version bumps, and that's how users do requests. Bugs in the base system are not necessarily something you're going to triage like 100 of in a day. Well, no, you could triage 100 in a day, but you're not necessarily going to do close and look at and review like 100 patches in a day, because that's quite a lot of work. Whereas this person seems to have a workflow where they're like, yeah, it's fine, ship it. So they do a search. So let's do our search again. Let's look at one of these. I'm going to make this window bigger. It doesn't work when I do that. Yeah, now it goes away. So if I come back into this window, it does not come back. That is the problem. So there's something weird with Firefox and OBS going on here. I bet you i3 is involved. So that's no longer helpful. So I'm going to get rid of it. I don't know which. Yeah, okay, I called it that. So it goes away. Nope. Let's make this bigger. Hey, cool. DNS failed. I wonder why that was. So the nice thing about having Control T is you can see if it's dead. I don't know why we turned on kernel stacks by default for SIGINFO. I don't know how they help people in the general case. I'm just going to press this button because I don't care. I'll let it start again. We need to get 150 megabytes. Yeah, okay, so this is going very slowly because it's been like half an hour? 20 minutes. Okay, that's not so bad. So a reason for writing blogs is like a blog post is a way to try out documentation as well, and you can be a lot more opinionated. So you can try the technical parts of it where there's command examples and configuration, and you can have more of a narrative around it and why you are doing this, and it's a way to just try things because it's not like once it's written it can't be cycled through again. Yeah, I know. I saw the discussion. It just was a weird default, and I understood the justification when he set the default as well because people needed to know that it existed. My watch is telling me to stand up. I don't know how to deal with that right now. So if we look at the bugs, I will make this bigger, and I will also show it on the feed again. So these are all cut off because I'm really glad this is not responding to those things I type in the terminal on OBS. I do think OBS is set up in a way so that you can't accidentally like hit Control Q and it will die. Okay, let's try getting Wisp on. So oh, that's fun. There's a comment from Bjorn on this bug saying that he won't use Bugzilla until he has a CLI to use. I actually think it's funny. And so, oh wow, this is very old as well. So this is a bug race against 7.1 pre-release. It is a V6 class option. The words class and V6 could happen all over the place. Oh, a truck drove by. That was cool. It did not bother the seagulls though. And it is coming from JuneOS. Bjorn requested a bug. Okay, maybe this came out of a conference as well. And this is very old, right? So 2009. I don't know what traffic class means for IPv6. I'm actually wondering if this has been closed in the last year. If it's talking about the diffserv field, then there was a bug that Michael Tuxen found in SCTP or TCP where the traffic class would be set, basically it would leak kernel memory. And we fixed this. So I wonder if it's fixed. Let's see what this diff is. Okay. So in this output here, which I'm scrolling through, and is all warped because I had to make my font big. We can't hear it eventually. We have integer, which is the diff, and so we can use the attachment. it just saved it to a file. I don't want it to do that. I would believe that this is closed. So this is not exactly a complicated bug, right? This is a very small diff. It has this. I am sure we can set a traffic class for IPv6. I have used this. I mean, a lot changes in 11 years. Because it would mean that diffserv doesn't work with v6 if I'm reading this correctly. The thing that confused me is that the terms traffic class get used for a lot of things. The flow label frequently gets talked about as if it is a traffic class, and it's not a traffic class. It's its own awful thing that is little understood and rarely used properly. This patch looks fine. I'm pretty happy with it. I feel like though this was already been done. So this is the sort of thing that I would go and look at the implementation of v6 and just see if we are doing something similar or exactly this, and if we're doing it, then I would just mark it as closed, because I imagine it's done. It would seem very strange if diffserv didn't work with v6. And I have the annoying background of having done a lot of work on diffserv, and I think I would have noticed if it didn't work on v6 with FreeBSD, because we did quite a big measurement campaign. Oh, I have nice sound, thank you. It's because the microphone is very good, but it's not actually very good. It's just better than a laptop microphone or a headset. So let's do our search again and see what else there is. I'm not going to try and close any of these right now because I'm going to try and close loads of bugs tomorrow. So we search for patch in IPv6. I make this window big. If I do it again, but with the window big so I can actually read what the description is. I'm mostly looking for things that are unassigned. Because Bjorn has this assigned to him, so he can deal with it. And also, it's really scary, right? It's got an RFC next in it, so that would involve reading 2 documents to figure out how to deal with the patch, and who wants to deal with that? This also seems quite old as well, so you can figure out the vintage of the bug based on the bug number, because they are just increasing. UUIDs will ruin that. Humans won't be able to look at them. Some of these are quite complicated though, like they would actually require knowing stuff. Well, this one doesn't make any sense. We are a downstream consumer of TCP dump. So let's see what this bug is. Get this bug. Oh, and the bug is actually not correct either. As per 2460, UDP packets over IPv6 must have a non-zero checksum. But I'm Googling in the window you can see. This changed. It became an optional part of v6 for tunneled packets in RFC 6935. I know this because I know the people that worked on it. Yeah, this document updates the IPv6 specification to improve performance when a tunnel protocol uses UDP with IPv6 to tunnel packets. The performance improvement is attained by relaxing UDP checksum requirements for tunnel protocols whose headers information is protected on the inner packet carrying information. Nope, I got lost and reading. Anyway, so that's another bug, and that one looks to be closable as well because it's wrong. I think we've always been a downstream consumer of TCP dump though, and so I don't know if this should have been opened for us. Yeah, that's a bit of a mean comment as well. Maybe the author didn't understand how the internet checksum works. Having really subverted the internet checksum, I don't know how it works. I can't do the maths behind it. And it's also quite old. And so these two actually seem like things we can close in a nice way. It's worse when there are bugs that you have to close because, let's just look for IPFW. It's a shame when you have to close things just because like time has passed and we don't know what's going on anymore. So IPFW bugs, I don't know what the first one means. I am just doing a very quick skim as well. Dummynet and VNet use results in panic. Well, I actually know that bug is closed because we can't use Dummynet inside VNet. I think it might just, it's either going to be overcome by events, so it's being fixed, but no one set out to fix it. Or the bug will be trying to use Dummynet inside a VNet jail, which breaks. Well, it doesn't do anything now because we pulled the support out. Hey, I'll finish this. This was against 1.0 current. I don't think that's true because it was filed in 2010. I wonder what number it was. I think it was 10 current. Oh, okay, because it is a patch. Oh, it was against 8 stable. So maybe it was 9 current they meant to type. Yeah, we definitely pulled out. It's marked as in progress. So there's me looking at some bugs from the command line. Hopefully it resolves Bjorn's complaint in the past. I too really want Dummynet to work inside VNet, and I just need time to work on things like that, which I won't get. I mean, I'll generate time and make the time. Anyway, the install is done. So package helpfully tells you microphone a little bit. Package helpfully tells you a quite long essay for every package message after an install. It would be nice if this was reviewable in some way, because I mean the last message that says source code pro needs to be added to my Xorg conf is maybe not helpful. There might be other more important things there. I'm now typing on the wrong keyboard. I need the other keyboard to type. I move the mouse away. I'm going to try and load this i915 KMS kernel module to see if anything good happens. It worked. I've done it again. I don't have a mouse plugged in. Could someone tell me what this window manager is and how I exit it without a mouse? Oh no, no. Yeah, okay. Oh, it's really hard to use this mouse. The DPI is far too high. If I exit this terminal, the window manager goes away, right? Yeah. So we need to do stuff. What is the stuff we want to do? We want to set up my user, try and get Xorg going, and then make the config a bit more permanent, and then boot into a desktop environment. Okay, so here I am. The camera stopped. It's okay. We'll look at Seagulls later. I'm going to turn the camera off though. I don't need awesome WM. Nobody needs that. The world's fastest mouse can go over here. It's terrifying. I bought a much cheaper second Logitech mouse, and it's much slower, and I prefer it. Well, it's a hard transition. So I keep being unable to type. Let me take this mouse, move this just into the middle of the screen. I keep my dot files on my web server. I don't. Something is broken in fetch. I understand. I'm in /user. Okay, I keep my dot files on my web server, so I'm just gonna download these files as I remember what they are. It would be great if someone could clarify for me if I need an xinit RC anymore or an X session, because I know that changed a couple of ways and it wasn't very good. Backspace, backspace, backspace. It's really hard to use a computer with this much display. My terminal font. It's a weird error for fetch, though. It's not a very helpful error. I think it is xinit rc is the file I have on my web server. No, it's not. It might just be called xinit. I'm not very smart. Maybe it is x session. I just copy the files to each other, though. I don't really care. And some of these files are quite old because they don't really take a lot of changing. I am going to launch from, no, I can't see. I'm going to launch from a login manager. So i3 config. I'm going to launch from a login manager, so I don't know which one is the right one to use, and it changes. There's probably something I've forgotten, but if I have a terminal theme, X resources, vimrc, and all I have to do is move all these files manually because I'm not very smart. Make dir-p.config i3. Yeah, but it used to read xinit rc, and then it only used x session. I don't mind. Here's my i3 config. You can get any of these config files. Nope, that's not how we type that. Does SDDM allow multiple sessions without killing the attached user? Because I'd quite like that support in one of the operating systems I use, just any one of them. I'd like to be able to, I would like to be able to have multiple users so I could have a user that doesn't have any ability to do anything, so I can actually focus. Okay, paper color is a theme I got from somewhere. I did not name it. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do at all. Let's move .x session to .paper color. Paper color is a light theme. I use it because I am a psychopath. Light themes work great on laptops, but if you're outside. Any reason you don't save the dot files on your website with the dot in the name? No, there's no reason. mvx session dot x session. This dot x session is not gonna. Oh, it can't autocomplete files that don't exist. It's not very helpful though, because it's got like things like a wallpaper from my desktop, which does not exist, and it's got a screensaver, which I have not installed. And then I'm going to move dot. Nope. I do copy dot x. Okay. Now we can do that magic command. I will move this again, and we are in i3. That's really not a great resolution to look at. It's got the correct font, but I found, so I used Source Code Pro for a long time, and Source Code Pro is great on like the monitor I'm using because it's from work. But Source Code Pro is really wide, so you get very few characters across for your terminal, and it's really annoying. So we don't want any of these lines because some of them are spelt wrong. That's not the name of the font. So let me look at it. X resources on my laptop. In Consolata. I wonder what the 4 power line one was. No, but Inconsolata is much narrower, and it's also a monospace font. It's like, it's wide for what it is. So I didn't install sudo. I always forget something. We'll just run this. I definitely typed that wrong. Package install sudo. What a thing to have forgotten. Okay, I need to do more config. Now I can sudo. I actually want I want a terminal font that can do emoji well, and so I can do things like if I type 27 A2, then I get a nice little arrow. Does biggest work? Biggest will change the font. I'm not using ZSH yet, so that's the other thing we need to do. Make a new terminal. It did not do what I want. It's fine. So move things around a bit as I feel like they should be. KLD list equals I915 KMS. That's not how you type letters in the right order. KMS. And then, is it core temp on Intel? If it's core temp on Intel, oh, it's AMD temp on AMD. Yeah. How warm are we today? That was a lot of temperatures. We are sat at 44 degrees, which is pretty good actually, because the fan's going all the time. I installed Linux on the NUC to try something for a colleague, and the fan wasn't going all the time. So I do wonder what's going on there. Core temp. What did I type? Slim enable equals yes. And I need dbus. I think that's all I need. Now, what I also didn't do is I didn't install Rofi. Rofi is a command launcher, and I need it to do the next one. And I need to do sudo service dbus start. And now I can do Firefox, and then we can go to a website like freebsd.org. And look, we have a FreeBSD desktop. Something I learned only like, oh, I don't want this warning. It's so hard to do. Oh, there's 2 mouse pointers on the screen as well. This is like the ultimate challenge. Yeah, I'm not enjoying this. Enter. Yeah. Okay, that's all I had to do. And I don't have an i3 3 status config, which is valid, but let's do something like this. Where are we? 122. 192. So what I'm doing is copying a wallpaper from my laptop to this machine. Oh, and it's having a moan at me. Dot SSH known hosts 83 is no longer valid because I reinstalled you. Yes. And then what we're going to do is Freebsd scale wallpaper. Nope. I need one more flag in that command line. I'm not using ZSH yet. I'm very confused. I'm just going to add a wallpaper for when we log in, and then we can reboot. Dot x session file. The wallpapers are the things my terminal sit in front of. I'm going to do sh/home/tj/ .freebsd. Let's see if that works. And sudo shut. Yeah, I never see my background either. I mean, I use i3 gaps so I can remember it's there, but I never really see it. As we wait for the NUC to reboot, I really like these HDMI capture devices. I think that what it means now is if only servers had HDMI on them, you would only need a laptop in the data center. You wouldn't need monitors anymore. And if you're setting up things like a Raspberry Pi or like a really awkward single board computer like the Latte Panda that doesn't turn on very reliably. I mean, I set up a Latte Panda to do radio stuff just using this, not using the monitor, and it was great. It's a great proof of concept and worked really well. So yeah, I'm really happy with these things. And they're so cheap. They're like $5. I'd like to thank everyone that works on X and graphics in FreeBSD for making this painless. I don't know if FreeBSD would be usable as a desktop without this. It's great. Okay. And what we find is I can't log in. And it's not as if I don't know what the password is. And it's not as if where's this mouse pointer? It's not as if I changed anything, right? And fuck off email. I think there's something really weird going on with our with Slim or our login database. Where this happened to me earlier this week and it got me quite cross. I'm just going to change my password to what it is. I would love if anyone else had encountered this, if they could tell me, because it always feels like I'm losing my mind. But I do know I'm not forgetting my password. And in the Slim log, all it says is authentication error when this happens, like this. And I don't understand. I have no idea. Stupid computers. the last time where this ended up working? Linked page not implemented. Anyone? var /log/slim. See, it just has authentication error. And yeah. I can log in, right? I'm logging in, and so I don't understand what's going on in here. It could do with a lot more debugging. I've never installed PAM intentionally, so I'm not sure what's going on. The fat command, which is what I'm going to do. There is a file called extra resources there. It's on 7, 8. Oh, it's off by 1. That's very confusing. It's like it doesn't. It's like it doesn't work. So I'm gonna try. Now, so since I learned that reboot is awful and you shouldn't use it, I don't know what to type anymore. Reboot just calls the reboot system call, and so the machine goes away. Where shutdown calls into RC. Maybe it doesn't call into RC if you give it -R. But then how are you meant to reboot? It's not that the keyboard layout is wrong. It's not that I don't know the password. It's not that I'm typing the password wrong. It just doesn't want to let me log in. And I use Slim on other things. And it happened on a machine that had been up and running for a long time before. It's a mystery to me. What does -R for reboot do? Reboot -K is great. I really like telling reboot to come back on a different kernel. Oh, rerouting. I've never used that. There's so many great things in FreeBSD that I've never actually touched. I'm yet to use boot environments at all. One day I will look hard at this and set it up. I actually was going to do this for my ThinkPad, but I bought a new SSD for it and I sent it to work, and so I'm not getting it for a while. I might get it in the future. I hope to get it in the future. No, reboot the system goes away. And so what I found with running reboot is the history in my shell on a virtual machine where I'm doing kernel development doesn't get updated when the machine reboots. See, look, it worked. Why? So if you use fat to set your background, it leaves a script to set your background again, which I have run now. And so here's the background. Wrong mouse. Here's a mess. Here's two things. Here's my desktop wallpaper, which is a picture I took in New Zealand last year. And here is a picture of a seagull, which is a picture I'm taking right now. That is all I was planning to do. So it took an hour 20. Most of that was waiting to download packages though. Doing this install, the load on my ThinkPad is sitting at 4.6. OBS is using 30% CPU for 30 frames a second. I'm streaming from ThinkPad X270. 16 gig of RAM and a pretty old i5. It's running FreeBSD. It's my main FreeBSD machine. Plugged into it, I have two USB capture devices. One of them is doing the feed from a camera. The camera is a Canon 600D with a 300mm. It's a 150 to 300 adjustable lens. It would have a battery eliminator in it, but it doesn't work very well. It's going into HDMI UVC capture devices, which are working great. I am speaking into a Zoom H1 microphone with some cheap Samsung earbuds plugged into it, so I can hear what my sound is. All of this is going through a USB hub. And I'm using a DVI to HDMI adapter to use a second monitor, and the second monitor is some HP thing I've borrowed from work. That is what the entire setup is. This is working great. This is a stream coming from FreeBSD and about FreeBSD. And hopefully it's demonstrated that if you use open source software, and if you use maybe Linux before, then there's no setup here which is any different. If I was running a Debian desktop, it would look exactly like a FreeBSD desktop. One day I might cycle through the pictures, but I really like this picture of this tree, apart from the duck's bums underneath the branch. But there's nothing painful here. This all just worked. This computer was announced in 2019 and went on sale in April, so it is the complete bleeding edge here. It's got really good support. Suspend worked on it when I first installed it, and then there's some issue with ZFS, so I would expect Suspend and Resume to work okay. Graphics are working great. Sound works from the HDMI and the audio jack. The only feature, the SD card slot works, the Ethernet works. The only missing thing right now is the Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi is coming. It's being worked on, and so this is good. I have done desktop installs of FreeBSD like 4 times in the last couple of weeks. They're not difficult. FreeBSD is great to work with. The installer is very easy. I always love it when I finish doing a FreeBSD install and it says uptime 3 minutes, because that is as long as an install should take. There shouldn't be a ton of questions. Other systems like Debian, the installer refuses to let you set your time zone if you choose the wrong language. So you can't speak Spanish and also live in America. There's really weird things about that come through which we don't have. We're more sensible. I tried to install Windows 10 on one of these NUCs 2 days ago, and Windows 10 refuses to install. It says I need a driver, and it won't tell me what for. I installed Debian on one of these, and the Debian installer got very upset by the Wi-Fi because it needs bits. I don't understand why. And so for me, the easiest install for this thing is FreeBSD. And obviously I'm biased here because I'm a FreeBSD developer and user, and I love the platform, but it was very painless. The other two were very annoying. I have had this begging screen, which I'm just going to make more obvious, on the slide here. So I have a Ko-fi. It's a real nice. It's real nice for people to support this, and the fact that there are people in the Twitch chat is great. Money is greater. I started doing hardware hacking stuff, and I'm going to come back to that. But I wanted something straightforward to try doing streaming from FreeBSD. Doing stuff with real things costs money. Doing with streams takes some time. I mean, they are a bit more informal than doing videos, but they do take time and effort. And without something to keep you going, it's easy to start. It's hard to keep doing them. And so if you like me to keep doing these, then you could show your appreciation. Someone did today, so it made me very happy. I'm gonna go buy beer and whiskey with this money because it will help me make stupid purchases online. I got a UV sensor this week, and I don't know where it came from. I'd like to thank everyone that has joined the feed. It's great to have people to talk to, even if it's only the audio going one way. So thank you all. If you like FreeBSD, and if you'd like FreeBSD to be better, or if you would like to get involved in open source, then tomorrow from 1400 UTC, so the same time the stream started today, until 1900 UTC, which is like 10 p.m. in the UK, we are doing a FreeBSD bug squash, and we're going to try and go through the bug tracker and just close out as much stuff and update it and make sure things are still relevant. We will be as friendly and welcoming as we can be, and trying to be deliberately so, because we want more people to be involved, and closing bugs is a great way to get involved in the project. So there should be quite a lot of people around. There's going to be a Google Meet. If you want to find more information, it's gone out on the Freebsd Hackers mailing list in June, so you can probably find that. It should have been on Freebsd announced, but I don't think it ever got check marked by the mail admin. We'll start with a Google Meet and we'll talk about the process a bit, and then we will go for like 7 more hours or so, and we'll be in what's the name of the IRC channel? FreeBSD bugs on Freenode. And the good thing about FreeBSD bugs is there is a bot there, and so every bug update maybe there's only new bugs. Maybe it's only new bugs, but the bug updates come through from the bot in the channel. So hopefully we'll see stuff going through. So thank you again. Have a great rest of your day, and I will speak to you in the future.